Buescher. Okay, Chris Buescher. All right, we're just gonna start that all over. So I have Chris Buescher here. No, I said Buescher.
All right, so firing off, our first term here is going to be dirty air. So dirty air in the NASCAR world is frustration, but there's a lot more to it. But when you have dirty air, it's because there are other cars around. It's not that there's dirt in the air, it's turbulent air from other race cars that takes away potential from what we're able to do on the racetrack. So you're always trying to come up with some way to place your race car in a better spot where you could find cleaner air. When we get into a race, there's 40 cars out. It's never gonna be perfect, but you're always looking for cleaner air so that you're not at a deficit to some of your other competitors.
Okay. So dirty air sounds similar to something in supply chain that I know. I think we could compare that to disruption. Disruption in the supply chain network is essentially anything that takes away from the flow of supply chain. So any of you experts out there that know Lean and know Lean Six Sigma, these are all key terms, Chris. I'll explain them a little bit later.
Okay, we're coming back.
But with Lean, it's all about improving flow, right, and eliminating waste in the supply chain. So let's say the supply chain network is something simple. It's step 1, it's step 2, it's step 3, right? A disruption would be anything that takes away from those 3 steps, right? So now instead of step 1, step 2, it's step 1, step 1.1, 1.2, et cetera. And those are things that just take away from the natural flow, the strategic flow of your supply chain. So it seems a little bit like this dirty air in the NASCAR world.
Yeah, that sounds frustrating to me. So
oh, it's frustrating.
Yeah, I get that one for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. All
right, slide that one away. All right, so the next NASCAR term that we're gonna come up with here is driver. I better be able to explain this one.
I sure hope so.
But so as the driver, basically the best way I could explain it is all the final decisions come down to me being behind the wheel. There is a network of people that are giving me information, that are helping us tune a race car to be better, that are getting us through traffic, through accidents, whatever it may be. But ultimately, I have my hands on the steering wheel, right? The weight is on my shoulders to make the right decision that ultimately is going to affect the outcome for our entire group.
Wow.
So best way I know to describe a driver, it's the one that gets probably most of the credit while not doing most of the work.
Gotcha.
But it does create a very important role, and is very key to having a good day.
Right, okay. So driver. In supply chain management, I guess that would be equivalent to a supply chain manager. So the supply chain manager is kind of, to Chris's point here in NASCAR world, is that individual that is responsible for making the real-time decisions, right? If something changes within that supply chain, right? We have a disruption in that supply chain. It's the supply chain manager's responsibility to assess, right? Understand what that disruption is and plan mitigation or corrective action plan. There's many different terms you can use to describe it, but whatever you want to call it, they have to do it for the sake of the entire production team, right? And you mentioned that sometimes your position, right? You get a lot of the visibility, but a lot of that work is not on your plate, right? You have to make the decisions with the information, but there's a team supporting. So supply chain manager and driver. Awesome.